Happy Hump Day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming over to the DFS 5-pack. We're ready to talk some basketball for a monster 10-game slate tonight. Coming off of a 2-game slate yesterday and a smaller one tomorrow. Seems like a good one to spend some time on today. Try to go out and crush it and win yourself some of that nice hard-earned cheddar or cash or whatever word is you want to come up with for today. But we should have some fun with this one. Plenty of good plays, and let's dive in.
Let's get it, man.
I know you're really, really hyped about this one. And coming off of like a boring night of NBA last night, it's nice to have a nice, sexy slate like this.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
All right, guys. Before we hop into the plays of the day, the current 5-pack promotions are up as kind of follows for the day. And what I mean by that is we've teased the free NBA package giveaway the last couple days. We haven't been able to meander into likes that we like, but we're going to give it away today anyway. So here are the rules, and it's really, really simple. To be eligible for a free NBA giveaway, comment who is your all-time favorite NBA player. I don't care if everybody says Michael Jordan. You can say Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Allen Iverson. It doesn't matter. Who's your favorite? Comment. That's all you got to do to be eligible. Tomorrow, we'll draw a winner from all the guys who commented. Just be random selection, and you get the free NBA package for the rest of the year. If you just want to purchase the NBA package today, easy peasy lemon squeezy, head on over to the website link below. $10 rebate offering to everybody who buys it today. Let's continue to crush this NBA season and subscribe to the station if you're new to it.
You don't even have to get anything right. Just literally put down who your favorite NBA player is. And it can't beat that.
I feel like we're on an SNL version of Jeopardy. You don't need to tell me anything. All you need to do is comment an NBA player. It could be Kurt Rambis. You could do whatever you want. Just comment an NBA player.
So funny. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Day passes are up to the website, guys. We'll go through the typical format, starting with our cash game lock. We're going to look at a young man named Xavier Tillman of the Memphis Grizzlies, power forward and center eligibility, $3,500. Similar to Jokic last night. Just set it and forget it. Totally different price point as we addressed in our conversation yesterday. But this dude is going to be Memphis Chalk City as opposed to Detroit Rock City, guys. He is going to be massively, massively owned for all of the obvious reasons, guys. Jonas Valanciunas is not a thing today. See his recent game log. He's been productive in pretty much, all game scripts and everything that you can imagine lately. I think he's got double digits in as long as I can remember. He's got 25 plus in 3 straight. There's an opportunity he'll be starting tonight. I don't care if he is or if he isn't because he's still going to see good minutes. Just put him in the power forward position in all cash games. And honestly, you might want to just do it in GPPs too and just be different in your 7 other spots.
Well, for me, I'm a huge Tillman fan. I've been talking about him, it seems like forever. It's only been a couple weeks. But again, I was a fan of his at Michigan State. He's been playing really well. He had been playing really well behind Jonas, kind of taking the run of Gorgie Dang. Not even kind of. He has taken over all the backup run for Gorgie Dang. Well, now Jonas is out, stepping into the starting lineup. We saw him play decent last time out. He's got upside for much more. This is a set it and forget it type of play in all formats for me tonight.
It's a good matchup, too, with Portland, who, despite having a couple of good individual defenders in Robert Covington and Derek Jones Jr., it has not blended into good team defenses here. Now they got Canner down in the post, who we love from a DFS perspective, a DFS monster, but he's a terrible defender, which just makes life for Xavier Tillman even easier. As much as I love Derek Jones Jr. as an individual defensive player, it has not been able to rub off on the rest of the Portland Trailblazers. This is just a crush spot. This is legitimate 10x upside right here. And at high ownership. This is a ballsy-ass fade, man, if you're going to play him and not play him in GPPs. And I know, you're not going to because you're a big fan of his. But sometimes, there's a real point. Who was the guy last night? Roby. There was past you could see where he wouldn't be great. But you got to be really, really tough to not play him. I think this one's an even braver fade and not one I'm interested in fading in the slightest.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is just at 3,500. It's easy. We could see him at 5K next slate. So just set it and forget it and move on.
All right, next up. So you'll tell by this show that Matt's a big fan of the Grizzlies today. But this is also a situation to me where, playing against Portland with how their price is and no Jonas to just kind of dump it down and playing that slower role to, I think you could see potentially 4 Memphis players with GPP value tonight. And why wouldn't Ja Morant, their best player, be one of them?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, he's just too cheap at 7,300. We've seen him play 30-plus minutes back-to-back games now since returning from injury. It's not that I only like Memphis in this game. I like both sides of this game, which just makes it even better. You got like a 1 point spread, a 220 plus total. Game that I expect to be really close. Again, kind of like Tillman and the opposite of some other teams on this slate. Memphis is just still really cheap. No idea why Ja is only 7,300. We had seen him in the mid eights, before he got hurt.
Can I pause you for 1 second and ask you a question? Morant at 7,300 or Kevin Huerter at almost 10K?
Right? Like, seriously. I mean, it just doesn't make sense at all. I agree with you. I think Morant is a rock solid play in all formats. Wanted to bring him up as my GPP guy because he's one of my favorite guys on the slate. I'm a huge Morant fan and haven't been able to talk about him for a while.
Well, he didn't play well in his first game back, which is not to be expected for a guy coming off. Almost seemed rushed back from injury, but sometimes dudes just get healthier than anticipated. He looked a lot better in game 2, so you have to feel significantly better about him at a low price tag for what he offers coming into a really good matchup against the Portland team. Look, Damian Lillard is a fantastic point guard. He's a wonderful scorer. He's an excellent shooter. He's not a plus defender. This is a situation where you have to feel good about the Grizzlies putting up some points. They play poor backcourt defense. Now, CJ McCollum not being around, does that change things a little bit? I don't know, maybe, but it's not something I'm scared of. So Morant is a little low on the cost. He's played 30-plus minutes in each game, and he actually looked good in the second game because he didn't look so good in the first game, but that's pretty typical for guys coming off injury. Sometimes it takes a game to get your mojo back, and he seemed to get it back in game 2.
Agreed wholeheartedly, and I love the Morant versus Dame matchup here.
All right, next up. So speaking of chalk, Nikola Vucevic of the Orlando Magic at 8,600 tonight. Much like Xavier Tillman, only at a significantly different price point. He's a tough guy to get off today. It's a little bit easier to get off of him because the price tag's significantly different, but he's a really tough guy not to play today. You mentioned it earlier with some of the guys from Memphis. When I popped open this slate to look at it initially and saw that the Magic were playing the Minnesota Timberwolves, my first thought in my mind was, is Vucevic going to be under 9,500 today? Because I kind of thought that he would be priced up at a crush spot like this. And then I saw him at 8,600, which is kind of a low cost for him overall. And I'm like, well, this guy is going to be chalk. I checked the projected ownership percentages. He's the second highest projected owned guy behind Tillman. I'm like, that just confirms everything that I already thought. He's just a good play. Period, point blank. He's going to be wildly popular today for all the obvious reasons. But if you want to start your GPP lineups with Vucevic and Tillman, you got 6 other spots to be different. If you're a cash game player, and as we were going through the sample builds on members only, these are the first 2 guys I'm plugging in. You got 6 other spots to be different in GPPs. In a cash game, I think you start here because the risk of these 2 guys not being in your lineup to me are great. I think Vuce should be projected. Like if I had to make a points projection tonight, I'd put Vucevic at like 6Xing, into the low 50s, which means cash game lock. He's a high floor play too.
Yeah, agreed. There's just too much to like here. Again, it's weird to see Vuce at 8,600 and think he's too cheap, but that's the case here. If there's ever a spot for him to go for 60 plus, it's this one. And we just saw what Clint Capella did to this team. Absolutely went off on the inside. They have no way to stop him. He should smash here. Assuming this game stays close, I think he walks into 6X with ease.
Yeah, I mean, Naz Reid is kind of a fun DFS play from day to day, but Vucevic should just be able to take him to school. And whoever else they're throwing there, whether it's Vanderbilt, Ed Davis, you name it, I don't care if they bring Kevin Garnett back out of retirement because he's got to be in his mid-40s now. Like, there's just no way they have anybody to match up with the skill set of Nikola Vucevic tonight.
Well, if they have that time machine, like you talked about with the quarterbacks, and they can bring KD back to his prime, I might be worried.
Then I'd be a little bit more worried. I'm yet to hear about that, so okay. I think we're good for the day. So we're going to move over into long shots for the day, and I'm going to take a look at Derrick Rose of the Detroit Pistons versus the Atlanta Hawks today in a game that's got a lot of upside potentially for DFS plays. So why Rose to me is a long shot is just because of how erratic his minutes can be. Now, he's played more minutes in 4 straight. He played 27 last time out. So I feel good that this is another good spot for him to play in that 25-minute range. He can crush in 25 minutes, especially in a plus matchup against an Atlanta Hawks team who's got, pieces in and out constantly. I like the idea of him coming in and playing with the second unit and running against a lot of those Hawks lesser players in this situation. I think both teams can view this one as a winnable game. Atlanta we thought would be better, but they haven't been healthy all season. And we know Detroit's not very good, but I'm sure they view this as one of those games they have a legitimate shot to win. So I think that they're going to give their veteran presence in Derrick Rose his, somewhere between 24 and 28 minutes in this one. He's got every opportunity to give you some of that GPP value that we've seen in like 4 of his last 9 games, if my memory serves me correctly. But I put him in a long shot because it's the Detroit Pistons. And on any given day, they can be awful, and maybe they don't get to their second unit with their veteran players as much. That's why, to me, he falls in more of a long shot category. Also because he's only projected for single-digit ownership.
I agree, though. If you think this game stays close, I think Rose is one of the first guys that you're looking at. Well, not even if you think this game, if you like this game a lot, because, again, we've talked about it on 10-game slates, you really got to pick your spots. If you like this game a lot, I think Rose makes a ton of sense as arguably the top piece of Detroit dollar for dollar. I know there's another guy we've talked about on members only, but at 5,400, the dollar for dollar upside is real here. You know, like you said, assuming he plays his 24-ish minutes and this game is tight, he could easily be closing. Atlanta's got, no way to stop him if he's playing well. I like the call.
All right. Next long shot of the day, we're going to go right back to a team that you are man-crushing on today, which is the Memphis Grizzlies. And you're taking a look at a long shot in Grayson Allen, who you're a bigger fan of his than I am. But if there's a time to ride a shooter, it's when they're coming in hot like Grayson Allen, who I guess technically I didn't look this up, but I'm confident this is the best 3-game DFS stretch of his career he's coming in off of.
I would agree with that. I haven't looked it up either, but I would not argue with that. Again, big thing for me, 23 minutes and 3 straight. We've seen Dylan Brooks.
26 minutes and 3 straight.
Yeah, 26 minutes and 3 straight. We've seen Dylan Brooks' minutes fluctuate a little bit. DeAnthony Melton did not even get off the bench yesterday. Grayson Allen's playing good. You mentioned on the members-only video that a big thing for Allen is he's really only a shooter. That's true, except he's also really good on defense, which is why I think he's seeing more of these minutes. So he's an active body. He's a guy that is not afraid to get grimy, to get in there, to get dirty. Obviously, everyone knows, the things he's done throughout his career. Doesn't have the best reputation, but there's a reason he's still around. He's got decent game. He's only 4K. He's hit GPP upside off this price and then some the past 3 games. And in my favorite game of the night, I definitely want exposure here. And I don't think people are buying in yet. I have a little cause for pause, even more than I normally would, because of Kenrich Williams yesterday. But this is a different situation. I mean, I wasn't expecting him to get 0, 0, and 0 in his 6 minutes and then not get on the court again. But it is what it is.
Grayson Allen, you're right about he's been eating into Brooks a little bit. And when they played a couple of days ago, that Melton didn't get off the bench is kind of a big deal. It doesn't mean it sticks up today, but the fact that he plays defense, it's kind of like the Derek Jones Jr. on the other side. Yeah, maybe you don't bring it every day offensively, but if you can shut down your opponent, there's a reason you can stay on the court. And you don't lose DFS points because you're a douche. So you don't have to worry about Grayson Allen. You may not like him, but that doesn't affect his DFS game.
Amen.
So that's what we got for today, guys. You want the members only video? Love to have you as a member. As we announced a couple of weeks ago, we got some new things coming. We're going to be working with some new show sponsors starting tomorrow. So we'll start talking about somebody that we used to talk about back in the day, drafters. And we'll start doing some more drafts with, viewers and customers and things like that. If you want to challenge me as soon as today, go play on drafters. It's a lot of fun. We're working with a current customer and setting up our Discord channel. We started bringing in some of our, longtime customers yesterday, and we'll continue to, vet throughout that process over the next couple of weeks to the point then it'll be our regular means of communication to kind of simplify things for users and members and things like that. So a lot of exciting things going on. And if you want a membership, they're all up through the website.
Let's get it, man. Thanks, guys.